ready. So let me see. Let me get this ready here. Where is that? So, all right, here it is. All right. So obviously, Wayne, I did go see your show here in Boston. So speaking of talent, you recently landed your talents once again to play a role in Odysseus with Kate Hamill's reimagining of the classic poem written by Homer, the Odyssey, alongside with Andrus, which I also had the pleasure to meet after the show once I went the second time. Shout out to Andrus if you're watching also.
Yeah.
So she played. So Andrus, so you guys know he played. Andrus played Penelope, Odysseus' wife. So I know I asked you this question personally when we met, but obviously I want to ask it again so the people can know the answer. So can you tell us how you prepared for that role and how did you prepare for the role for Odysseus?
I mean, that's a loaded question because of course I had maybe about a month and a half, around Thanksgiving, I knew I had the role, right? So I started by getting a translation of the poem, reading into that, but also talking to Kate, who was like, hey, here's the real deal. I want you to focus on the contemporary soldier. Like we're gonna create this play that is timeless, that doesn't necessarily fall in any particular category, but we want to focus a lot on PTSD. We want to focus a lot on people who go through traumas. The character is not an ideal person, right? He's not your typical hero leading man. He has flaws, which is what attracted me to the character ultimately. I didn't like the character ultimately, but I was like, this is a real person who is not perfect and has some issues, but has some redeemable qualities also. So I did a lot of research on individuals who deal with PTSD and the different versions of that. And that's kind of where I started and kind of carried that through the show and the poetry of the show.
Beautiful.
Now, Wayne, you know I have to drop this. You know what I'm going to drop. You know I'm going to drop it. You know I got to drop it.
What are you dropping?
You know what I showed you last time.
Give it to him, bro.
I'm going to give it to you.
Be right there. I'm staying. What for? You don't know if D did this. I don't know that he didn't. Look, whatever he is, he sure isn't in the same league as Grundy and the others. He's a nobody.
Ever read the Odyssey? After Odysseus was caught by the Cyclops, he told it his name was Nobody. So when he poked its eye out and its friends asked who did it, all the Cyclops could say was, nobody.
Point taken.
I had to do that, man. You know, come on.
Oh, that had me rolling for a couple of days, man. Just so you know, that was good.
So just to add on to that, though, Christopher Nolan is adapting the Odyssey as well, and I'd like to get your thoughts real quick on that, since you had the opportunity to play Odysseus in theater.
Well, Christopher Nolan is a genius, and I read some quote the other day. I forget who exactly said it, but I think it was John. Was it John Leguizamo?
Yeah, John Leguizamo.
He was like, Nolan has a major film budget, but like an indie film kind of mentality. And I was like, that's dope. That's great. I think that's exactly what you need for the story, right? So I'm excited to see what he does with it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
nice.
I'm sure you all know that we're huge fans of DC. That's obviously that's duh. When it comes to Zack Snyder's work, the majority of the fans, as you know, we're fighting to see his saga complete, hence also get the scene that we never got. Tell us how the experience was working with Zack, even though I know this is something that you and I spoke, but again, so everybody can share what you and I spoke. Share us your experience, because one thing I did share with everybody was the tennis ball. I shared that. So man, know the rest. How was that experience?
I mean, it was surreal in so many ways. Like I spent 4 hours there at his place, and while he and his son and everybody, it was like maybe like 4 or 5 people there. My wife was there to like do makeup, to make sure.
She was there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, cool.
She does makeup, wigs, and things like that. So she was there, and we were like, waiting while they were setting up in the parking lot. And he took me to his movie theater, right? And so that's where we were hanging out. And on his big screen, I was just watching the Lakers looking like giants, you know, on the screen. That in itself was surreal, right? So I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And I'm like, man, I got to use the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, I shut the door, and it's all this Watchmen paraphernalia.
Yes, he has Watchmen. Yep, yep, we've heard the rumors. Yep,
that's the mask. Oh my god,
the rumors are true.
He's got like
rumors are
like
true.
things all around his place. I was like, this is so dope. And then I, you know, walk outside, you know, and try to be normal. And he's like, yeah, hey,
kind of hard to do that after watching what you just experienced.
Let's work. Awesome. I mean, like the whole, you know, in all seriousness, though, that whole summer, it was the hardest summer for, I know, a lot of us. 2020, right, was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
that,
it was brutal.
That summer, I literally came off the set where I was hanging out with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, doing Macbeth, Shakespeare on film, and then drove to Zach's house in a freaking mocap suit that doesn't flatter anybody, pull up next to this green screen, and then he's like, all right, we're going to play around with this ball. This is Batman. You're going to be talking to Bruce Wayne right there, which, by the way, that's my favorite character growing up. Batman was my jam, right? So I was freaking out, you know. I was like, Bruce Wayne, this is dope. But yeah, so like, I mean, I can tell you so many stories. One of the things that kind of rocked me the most was I didn't know necessarily what we were. I knew he gave me the page and a half or whatever it was of dialogue. I studied that. I did that thing, and he was throwing in lines, you know, and we changed it up a lot. And then 2 hours in, he's like, "I love what you're doing. I gotta have this in my movie. I have to." And I was like,
awesome, dude.
What were we doing? And I was like, and of course that like sat with me for a little bit. And I was like, okay, maybe I was just like helping him figure out what he needed to do or whatever. And then he just kept going. He was like, yeah, I'm going to show it to Warner Brothers in 2 weeks, and I'll let you know how it goes. I was like, all right. I thought I was in it. Okay, or whatever, right? But he said, you know, look, it's a long shot, but I love what you're doing, and I want to have it in my film. And I was like, cool. So it was kind of like a shoot / audition, and halfway through, he was like, thumbs up, and then that was one of those surreal moments. I was just like, all right, cool. And then this is something I've never told anybody, also, but he was like, by the way, when you were on your way up, did you see Harry? And I was like, Harry? Yeah, he drove right by you. Harry Lennox was driving down right.
Oh, man.
But I didn't know that was. I just
That's
passed
awesome.
Manhunter. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Oh, man. For context, for anybody who don't know, and if you're in this chat, you better know. If you are a DC fan, you better know this. The Emerald Cut, that's him. He's in that. Okay, that's what we're missing right there. Would love to see both Martian Manhunter and Jon Stewart in that joint together. All right, that's the missing part right there. That Emerald Cut. So
Hashtag release the Emerald Cut.
Release the Emerald Cut. Absolutely. That's
One
awesome.
thing I want to say, Wayne, before Rox will ask you the last question, is that is so awesome that your wife was there also to share that experience with you, because not all the time someone's spouse can share that type of surreal experience. So it's awesome because this part I'm learning about this right now, because I know you and I spoke a lot when you were here in Boston. That is awesome. That is a beautiful memory to have with your wife, dude.
Yeah,
shout out to your wife also. Shout out to Mrs. Carr.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so Wayne, speaking of hashtags, you recently here we go. You recently, and this is really my only question, and I think it's a big one, and it's very important for the Zack Snyder community. Yeah. You recently retweeted the hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix, and there's been a lot of
wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be. I am totally on board with that. I've been on board with sell ZSJL to Netflix for a very long time. Yeah. The thing is I wanted to bring to the attention, though, is that there's been a lot of division within the fandom with regards to what hashtags should be used in support of restoring Zack's universe. Some people choose to hashtag restore. Some people choose to hashtag sell. Some people choose to hashtag whatever. There seems to be new hashtags almost every day.
Yeah.
My question is do you believe that the fans should unite behind one particular hashtag, or do you think that no matter what hashtag is used, as long as we're keeping the conversation positive about Zack Snyder and his work within the zeitgeist, it shouldn't really matter? You know, I think that's just my opinion, but that's what I wanted to get from you.
Well,
you know,
if you are concerned about like numbers, right, and you want it to pop up on the trendy type thing, yeah, sure. Everybody pulling together, banding together to use one hashtag, that definitely does, you know, bring a little more attention to it. But any kind of positive energy towards something that you believe as a whole, if you're fighting over like the little, like who should it be this or should it be that, then I think that's missing the point. The thing that all of the Zack fans, DC fans, whatever camp you decide to fall in, you know, if you're a Superman fan, a Batman, it doesn't matter, right? If you want to see these movies, if you want to have some kind of influence, everyone sending positive energy, everyone putting their money where their mouth is, everyone not fighting amongst each other but pooling together, like and it, to me, any kind of positive energy going in whatever direction is the thing that people lock onto. I think you might think the algorithm is screwing you up or whatever, but there are people in high places that pay attention to all of the things, all of it, right? They pay attention. They have to, right? It's money for them, right? So I don't care if there are 50,000 hashtags in this and 50 over here, and when it could have been 100K or whatever, it don't matter. If any of the big studios feel like, you know what, we might get some value if we like did this thing over here and gave the fans what they want, they will do that if it was this, right? So like to me, you know, don't get me wrong, I understand like there's pride involved, there's belief, there's whatever else, there's, you know, clicks, all of that stuff happens. It's like high school, man. But understand that it's all being taken into consideration when you have a positive energy towards whatever. Awesome. It doesn't matter what the hashtag is. If 100,000 people are saying we want this, if 500,000 people are saying we want this, people are going to hear about it.
There it is, right there. Yep. Okay, pull that back up. Pull that comment back up. All right. Dennis just said it exactly. Keep people talking about the SnyderVerse, and it will never fade. That is exactly the point that I was making, especially at the beginning of the conversation. We support Cell. We support Cell of SnyderVerse. We support Batfleck. We support, make the Batfleck movie. We support Restore the SnyderVerse. We support all of them because we want his stuff finished. That is literally the point behind all of this. We want Zack Snyder's universe, including your shot as John Stewart. We want you to have your shot as well. So that's the point that we are all making. That was the reason, and that was the mandate behind the Lethal Geeks. This is why we started this channel, for everyone to come here and unite together under one common cause, and that is to get his universe finished. That's it.
So, Dennis, you get a drop.
Hey, there's kids trapped under here. Someone give us a hand.
This do?
Thanks, man.
Honestly, Wayne, I want to thank you for your answer. I think it was the perfect answer, and I think it should help unite a lot of the division. So thank you so much, dude. You have no idea what that means.
Oh, cool, man. Like I just want to, just also say, like, it's okay to have different opinions and different thoughts. You know what I mean? But you don't
Yes,
have to. You don't have to fight over it, right? Like,
Exactly.
say what you feel, and I'm cool with it, right? Like whatever it is that you feel, you desire, you want, or whatever. All right, cool. But ultimately, if there's any positive energy going in a certain direction, that's what's going to count ultimately.
Because pay attention to this important part, guys, in case you don't know, and for anybody listening or chiming in or just dropping in just to hear what we have to say. When they're paying attention, just like he said, they're paying attention to the algorithm. They're paying attention to how many people are asking for this. They are also paying attention to the infighting. They are also paying attention to that. So don't think for a minute that these people aren't paying attention to that. This is the reason why we're saying what we're saying here today. It does not matter what hashtag you are using. If you support DC, if you want Zack Snyder's universe restored, have at it.
Keep it positive and let's keep talking about it. Exactly.
We're all going in the same direction. We're all headed in the same direction, no matter what the outcome is, whether they sell it, whether they restore it, whatever is on the table, whatever's on the horizon, we want them to finish it so we can all rest. That's the point.
And guys, one thing also I want to say, Wayne here, he is our Black Panther. Because guys, if you all DC fans know, John Stewart was the first black DC hero.
That's right.
Wayne was a little confused there for a second.
I know. In the comics, I know. Yeah, I know. But yes, that's what I meant.
Nice one, Phil.
You guys know what I meant. But,
I know, bro.
Yeah.
It's this way.
Wayne, I get roasted every time. This is nothing.
You take it so well, brother. I appreciate it.
I have a choice.
You sure don't, buddy. You sure don't,
He's going
buddy.
red. He's going red.
You don't have a look into my eye, Phil. You don't have a choice, bro. You're gonna take them hits.
Like I'm like a man.